The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Tsuburaya Productions. Hello everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Tokutalk. Marcus and Jacob here to talk about what shows we think deserve the Black Sun treatment, or the Shin treatment, as it were.
Yes.
And this was an idea you had recently.
Yes. I'm trying to think about which way I want to go first. Because it's like, okay, Goranger needs something, right? We got Rider. I feel like Goranger needs something.
So basically, like, what if we took an older show, or a newer show, or what have you? What if we took a concept that has already existed in Toku, we zhuzh it up a little, give it a bigger budget, give it a new story, or, you know, a similar story, but with bigger scope.
Yeah. And
what is one that we would like to see? Or a few that we would like to see?
The reason I'm sort of blanking on this one, because I don't know which way I wanted to go. That's why I'm sort of focused on Goranger.
Okay.
I don't know if Goranger could work in a Shin format, but I think it might work better as a Black Sun
format.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking about the flashbacks that we got in Black Sun, where a good chunk of that show was a period piece set in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. If you did it like, because I think there are good examples in film and television of like period pieces set, you know, whether it's, you know, the 1930s or Boardwalk Empire or something, or
updated to now,
I think it would work better. I would love to see like what would a period piece 70s Goranger look like with a modern day budget, and scale similar to what we got with Black Sun,
and I guess a lesser focus on Yellow's comedy. I think that's one thing that sort of held
that's one. Well, that's something you could improve, is you could scale back on the broad stereotypes, because Yellow is an overweight character who likes to eat a lot, and is kind of a schlub. And in this one, you change it up a little. What do you do with him now?
I think for this though, because of the fact that we are focusing, I guess, on 5, maybe 6 characters with the commander, we need a Black Sun style, so everybody could at least get something to really focus on. Especially because Blue didn't get to really do anything in the show. Dude was busy, but. I think at that time it might have honestly been better for, you know, Peggy got a lot in that show, and I would like to see her a little bit focused on. And I think Black Sun would work more than a Shin, because Shin is just movie length. Black Sun, you got maybe 12, 13 episodes, maybe 40 minutes each. And I think that would give you a little bit more time to breathe, especially because you don't have the giant mecha. So, you know, it gets you a little bit cleaner with the way that they could present the show to the people. I would love for them to do, or to give Peggy specifically, something more. I would love for them to give Yellow something more, Green something more, Blue and Red, just to make them stand out a little bit amongst all of their peers that have come after them. And I think a Black Sun style version of Goranger that was a little bit. It doesn't have to be like, oh my god, totally grimdark like Black Sun was, but it could be a little bit more focused. I think
Black Sun was dark too, but it also felt earned, considering the subject matter it was dealing with.
Yeah. I would love to see Goranger be done like that. A lot of the ideas I have for this Tokutalk are actually Sentai ones, so I'm honestly going...
Go ahead, I want to hear them all.
Full Black Sun. Bioman.
Okay.
Bioman is a little bit, it's very Monster of the Week, but it's done very well. It's like a Sentai, you know? It's sort of like, this is sort of a template for what they were going for, especially for a while going forward. I think Bioman, with everything with Dr. Man,
Full Man,
and, you know, the people immediately up to him, and his son, and dealing with those bioparticles, especially dealing with the first yellow one dying. They don't even have to do that in this case, because it would give, I believe it was Ferrocat, something to actually do except just be the underling of the main woman villain. Giving Bioman a much more focused story, I think, would be honestly perfect. It would, you know, drill down a lot of the mess and stuff they had going on with that show. Although we had to keep the pronunciations the same. We gotta like almost not like we gotta keep Green to it.
Good.
we got
Yellow fall.
And just centralize a lot of the things that the show had going for it. I think would make things better. I mean, that cast is already good. I would love them to, of course, make a cameo in it somewhere. It doesn't need to be grimdark, but I would like a little bit more focus on just the villain dynamics and the hero dynamics and sort of how they, I'm not going to say parallel each other, but sort of how they grow. Especially with Dr. Man having a son. He doesn't come in that often. I feel like that was sort of a wasted opportunity. As much as I love Bioman, I would love for them to do a Black Sun version of it. Just to, make it better than it already is. It's already good. So, I mean, what you got? The other one, and this is sort of the last one that I have. Liveman.
Oh, okay. Liveman getting the Black Sun treatment, eh?
Yeah.
What does that look like to you?
It is almost the exact same. We get rid of a lot of the BS. I would love for a more intimate look at the relationships between the villains and the humans. Or the villains and the heroes, the Livemen themselves.
Would you... Because I think one interesting thing you could do with that is if you cut back and forth between past and present. Yeah. And we show the relationships that our three leads had with the three who turned bad to Professor Bea's side. Yeah. And see that... I want to see that corruption. Yeah. And I mean, that's something I would love to see.
Because you had those other two that were killed at the beginning of the show. I would love for them to do something, essentially because Go didn't shoot them. He just went with Mazinda and I keep
Dr. Kemp.
Dr. Kemp. He just went with them, and I would love, especially because he seems the most remorseful. He's the one who ends up getting out first. I would love for, especially because he was the closest to Joe, and Joe was. In all honesty, from what we've seen, Joe is very overprotective of Go, and I would love for that relationship to be explored more. Could it be romantic? Who knows?
It absolutely
I honestly think that would give a much more interesting dynamic between those two characters specifically.
Because if episode 1 is like the first day of school and everyone's meeting each other, and those seeds are planted there, and then we go through time linearly. We can do it that way too. You go through time linearly and we see the relationships blossom. We see romances blossom. We see, you do absolutely have the scenes there to make that kind of a relationship romantic. Yeah. Where, it's something as simple as one's working late in the lab one night, comes over and asks to help him study, and who knows?
They were roommates.
Who knows? How scandalous.
It would also end up giving us a little bit of something for Black and Green to show up earlier.
Or cut them out altogether.
Honestly, I think having them show up earlier, in the flashbacks at least, would work because they were the younger brothers of the two
who were killed. That's right, yeah.
And, they were a late addition, so you did not see them when you saw the other younger brothers earlier in the show, even in the pictures. But I feel like that would be a better way for them to get introduced to everything that ends up happening as time goes on in the show proper, and we don't have to deal with Vega Baby.
I wasn't going to bring it up if you were, but
which is what my main point is.
I figured that was part of it.
But yeah, I would love for them to be, just so we have more time with these characters. It's like the other three knew them already, and they spent time with them. They were introduced to them as the younger brothers and everything. It would just, I think the dynamic would end up working a little bit better and make them feel a lot more embittered. So it would actually almost be better if they did not join the team right away.
Would you want Professor Bias to have...
I don't want anything to change about that man.
I was gonna ask, what kind of presence do you want him to have in the show? Do you want him...
Bring back Joji Nakata.
Bring back Joji Nakata to have him reprise the role. I don't know. He could probably do it. I think so. We'll see. But, if you had him as a presence at the... Is it a university or just some...
It is like a scientific university.
Scientific university. If he's a professor there. Yeah. Who is on the side experimenting with sciences man should not be trifling with. The dark arts, if you will.
That would be
it is like arcane science. It's a fusion of science and magic.
Yeah. Which is, it's such... The show is already damn good enough. But there are things to just, I guess, delve and dive deeper into these. I would love for them to do that with Liveman specifically, because there's so much to do there. Yeah.
There's a lot of ground you could explore, and just like the thought of like having Professor Bias as a professor there, like choosing which students to bring under his wing, and it's like, okay, you're a little too pure. You look like you have some darkness in you. Let me go and cozy up to you and bring you under my wing. Look at what I can do. Look at the powers you could have. And just that is like a come to the dark side moment I would love to see.
And think of the heartbreak when Go leaves Joe.
Especially if the romance is happening.
Yes.
Like, what is that play like for both sides? What does that look like? Because that's something we kind of got a little of it in Dawn Brothers, but like, what does that look like when those seeds are there from the beginning?
Yeah.
When we've seen that relationship build up.
I feel like you should not do the second betrayal when he false leaves. Mm-hmm. I feel like that part could be scrapped. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, especially them meeting on the battlefield after he transforms into Dr. Obelar for the first time. And then that ends up getting broken later when... I feel like this show might actually have to be like 26 episodes just to do it properly.
We could do that, yeah.
But, especially when you have the other two aliens come in, these robots that he brings in to really show him up because Go hasn't been doing that well. And, the chase with them trying to get Go back. And then... Mazinda. Hold my hand.
Oh, of course.
Mazinda. Get to see that shit. Having Mazinda's chase scene be done in a much more, I don't want to say brutal, but I like no music. Like the fear. I want like a full-on almost Resident Evil running away from something type of fear in this. Which I don't want my brain to get taken. God.
I mean, yeah, if you did like a kind of like a shaky cam over the shoulder, no external sound except for the diegetic mix of like the waves in the background, just crashing around her screaming, that could be very scary.
I feel like a Black Sun remake of Liveman would just be peak. that would
I say I love everything I've heard so far. That's definitely the one I'd be the most interested in seeing.
Yeah.
Out of the three we've talked about. Do you have any others? Or anything else you want to touch on with Liveman first?
Well, actually, Dr. Kemp, I feel like especially because he's the one who's returning on Mazinda, I want a whole episode dedicated to him just spiraling. To where he ends up at the end of it, taking out his brain and going full monster. Like one of the last episodes of the show. And we still need not Gray. His name was not Gray in Liveman. That's Jetman. But the robot who was basically Monsieur Mala in the brain.
Yeah.
From the Doom Patrol. I feel like having them, the robot ally that they had in this show would end up being just so much better. Once again, I honestly don't think you really need a lot of, or if any, mechs in this. I wouldn't mind a giant mech fighter once in a while, but I feel like that should be something that is saved until almost the end of the show, actually. Where it's something that they have to actually build. That doesn't just happen over the time skip. But almost all the story beats that you get in Liveman that deals between the two, and Blue Dolphin and her relationship with Dr. Kemp and his relationship with Red Falcon, especially Joe and Go. The only reason I remember their name because their names rhyme. So, but having those two, I almost feel like they should be a focal point, and I want a happy ending for the two of them specifically because Go's the only one who gets away. And he survives. He has that mother who's just a terrible person.
Yeah.
But I would love for them to just delve deeper into relationships between the characters and how they end up dealing with Bias-sama.
Any other shows that spring to your mind?
I want them. I don't know if they're going to do this to Shin Kamen Rider. I don't know if they're going to do a sequel. They might do a sequel, but I would love to see something for V3. I want that angry man. I want that angry man. He was just angry. He was embodiment of anger. And I want him to just be, really, his movies to just be him more on the warpath. I don't want another The Next. That was awful. Just, encapsulate a lot of V3's emotions and things having to deal with this. And having the other writers show up at some point. But I would love for a Shin version of V3 to be done. Or even, rather, actually, let's do the thing. Let's do a Shin version of Shin.
That was going to be my first one that I was going to talk about.
Go ahead.
I want to see what does the scaled up version of Kamen Rider Shin look like. Because I love monster movies, dude. I love freakos, I love monsters, I love all that good gory stuff. What does the budgeted up version, scaled up version of Kamen Rider the Wolfman look like? Because that's essentially what Shin is. It's Kamen Rider, but he actually turns into a kaijin. He is the monster. He is a monster, not a guy in a suit. And I would love to see that. I would love to see.
I would like to see it.
I would love to see I would love to see a gory, kind of Incredible Hulk werewolf type story where we have a man grappling with literally an inner monster, trying to balance his life however he can, and also trying to keep it in check to keep people safe, but also. But also make sure he doesn't cross that line either in terms of, letting the monster fully take control. So yeah, nothing super deep that I would like to get into. Just I think it would be cool.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, I would like to see them redo this, if only because I only remember certain parts of this. But just speaking of Shin, Zeto.
Okay.
I sort of want them to redo that.
Really? Why?
There are certain parts in that movie I still remember. Certain parts that still scared the shit out of me. The goddamn spider monster.
True.
The puppet was the scariest thing. No, ma'am. But I want that. I want that again. I think, if only because Zeo doesn't really have a lot going for it. It feels really basic in comparison to Jay and Shin. It's the one in between. And I feel like it just needs more, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one that needs a little bit something more to do. I would put Andrew Hokkaider here, but the only problem is with that is we've sort of gotten to with Hokkaider and the Hokkaider movie that apparently wasn't very good, so I'm sort of excited to see that.
Well, we'll see it when we see it. And the anime.
Yeah, Andrew Hokkaider's been done a couple of times, but I feel like retelling that original story and just once again encapsulating it and having Hokkaider be sort of the main portion of it, I think would end up working well. I almost want to say Kuga, but I'd be lying. That show is perfect. No notes.
No notes.
No notes. Yeah, are there any other ones?
I mean, Shin was the one that I was really thinking of when you first brought this up. Weirdly enough, as much as I have practically nothing but praise for this show, even though it is a newer show, we said this during our review, what does the next version of Dawn Brothers look like?
Gayer.
What would a next version of, the next round of people, because as they point out in the show, it goes through in cycles.
Yeah.
There's this team, they are but one iteration of a team that has come before many times. What does that look like with a budget of Black Sun? If, especially, God, if they can keep that same... Because Dawn Brothers was a show about characters, which you so rarely get in Toku. I've mentioned this so many times, that show spoiled us so much. Why is everything not doing this? And what does that look like if we are exploring darker themes with that kind of scope?
It's just true.
Different scopes, different time periods.
Oh, Karate Chop. Nexus. If only to give it a proper ending.
Dude, yes. Yes. Yes.
I don't know why I karate chopped you. I felt like that was appropriate in the moment.
No, it's fine. it's appropriately a use for it, I would say.
Nexus needs its Black Sun version.
Yes.
Because that show was dark as hell. It already practically was a Black Sun version of itself.
It was a Black Sun version of the Ultraman concept as a whole.
But it just needs the ending. It needs that.
There comes a point in that show where a switch got flipped, and it becomes something that is not itself. Like the tone, a lot of things about it, like it's like, ooh, this is completely different. This doesn't work as well, it doesn't have a proper ending, and it doesn't get wrapped up properly.
Yeah. Like he turns.
Or as good as that show is, for as good as the good stuff in it is, I should say. Yeah, that is something that absolutely would do with a proper reboot and new telling. Absolutely.
Like you could pretty much just keep almost everything in that show just as it is. Especially, I would love to see Amazon go with that foul scene of the girlfriend in the house with the dolls and the paintings.
Yeah, where it's like an all black house, and
I would love for that.
Dead all along.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
but God, I want to see exactly how do we get to Noah, especially because you could even redo the next to make it tie in more. I just want that Nexus ending. I want a proper Nexus ending.
Same.
Yeah.
I think that'll about do it.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about what is your Shin?
Absolutely.
What is your Black Sun? Which one do you want to see? Which show do you want to see get those treatments? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to join us on all the things, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.